welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemens, and Lilia is just a weirdo, but she's our weirdo, and I love her so much. Patti LuPone is one thing, but Lilia Calderou is certainly another. And a frequent question we've been getting is, what do we think her outbursts really mean? In this video, we'll discuss her outbursts, where they are in case you've missed them, and who they're trying to reach. Is it for Agatha? Is it Wanda finally asking for help? Or Agatha's mom assisting along the witch's road? Whether it's her past, future, or present, we're gonna talk it all out. But first, we want to remind you to go check out nerdriot.shop, where you can always find the latest and greatest in New Rockstars merch. Right now, you can get our Venom Last Dance merch. I know that you guys are clamoring about that. You can also grab some of our Agatha All Along merch. It's never too late to get the Agatha All Along merch. Even if we're halfway through the series, you can get it. Wear it tomorrow. Or you can grab some Blade merch, because maybe you'll have to wear it at its funeral, because it's never gonna come out. Shopping at nerdriot.shop is the best way to support the channel and all the things that we do here in New Rockstars and in our network. Okay, let's get into it. So throughout the episode, if you haven't noticed, Lilia has figments of premonitions. Though we don't know whether they come from the past, present, or future, they're undoubtedly unpleasant. She's done it here.
Get off me!
And she's done it here.
I know a snake oil salesman when I see one.
Try to save Agatha.
And at other times, it looks like this.
What witch in her right mind would join Agatha Harkness's coven?
Not looking for right-minded witches.
And sometimes it looks like this.
Which is it? Am I wispy or am I kooky? Alice, don't.
Don't what?
Don't what?
As we know, Lilia is a divination witch, and divination uses different methods to gain insight into a situation or question. Through interviews, though, we know that Lilia is a 450-year-old Sicilian witch whose power is divination, whose trial is tarot. So later, we should expect to see her as a full-fledged psychic or clairvoyant using tarot to predict the outcome or solve the puzzle to her trial. People think Lilia's outbursts are scenes from the future that we've witnessed some parts of already. They've linked and compared the scene when she turns around and screams in her home to the teen screaming and turning away from the Salem 7 breaking into Agatha's. They've also linked the scene where she says this,
Get off me!
to the scene on the witch's road.
Don't touch me!
Though, as some folks have argued, the scenes don't really match up entirely. However, the idea of these being future visions isn't completely wrong. The trailer footage for Agatha All Along shows us 3 scenes: Agatha as the evil witch, Patti LuPone as Glinda, and Sashir Zameda as the evil queen. In this scene, we know the Salem 7 will arrive. And as we've seen so far with the others, this trial will also be timed because of the hourglass. I assume Lilia will need to read a tarot spread to get them out of there, and as the time ticks along, the swords start falling from the ceiling. This scene, battling the Salem 7, makes sense for Lilia's visions of "get off me" or "save Agatha," as she's gotta save Agatha to finish the witch's road in the first place. I think it's fair to argue that these visions may also stem from her past. So what do we know of Lilia's past that the show has revealed to us so far? We know that she's a 400-something-year-old psychic witch, and that she was chased out of every village for accurately predicting tragedy. She's like Bruno from Encanto. She wants to reverse her fortune according to Agatha, and from the hallucination of her younger self in episode 3, whether it's a past vision or an interpretation of a future one, it's wrapped in earthly decay and everyone's dead, including her teacher. The show doesn't shy away from the history or old wise tales, so it's not surprising they'd make Lilia an old Sicilian witch, and that her history could also play into her visions. Historically, witch trials were also documented in Italy back then. And if Lilia is a 400-something-year-old witch, she'd be from the 1620s. So during our episode 3 breakdown, Eric mentioned she might have been tied or had a run into death during the Italian plague, which ran from 1629 to 1631. And this was a part of a bigger, larger Black Plague that lasted a few centuries, but still, hence, could be the reason she yells, "She's dead! They're all dead!" in Italian. Early tarot was also said to originate around the 1440s in Italy. The cards were later used for divination around the 1780s, so Lilia could have also been the first witch historically to start it. And also lastly, I'd like to add that young Lilia's outfit is identical to the Queen of Cups on the promo art for Agatha All Along. In this scene, we see Lilia's maestra, her teacher, and death appearing behind her shoulder. The two could mean that for Lilia, it's time to let go of the old emotional burdens and tap into her intuition to open a new chapter in her life. Since the Queen of Cups can represent someone providing emotional support or guidance, the death part is a closing chapter or making room for new growth. This vision could be traumatic experience, but it could also be seen through the eyes of Lilia, who is just a clairvoyant. This is to say that Lilia's past was riddled with misfortune historically and fictionally, so her past experiences, whether repressed or forgotten, might be leaking out, hence the negative emotions behind most of the visions, all but the "I love you guys" one. That one was probably just from being poisoned. Thank you BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. There's a big misconception about therapy out there that scares people away from it, and it's that therapy is only for people with chronic mental illness, but that's just not true. Therapy is a tool everybody can use for personal growth, to get help solving problems, or just to have a safe space to talk to someone you trust. BetterHelp is on a mission to make starting therapy easier. It's a platform where therapists and their clients can communicate effectively so you can get the most out of therapy. Starting therapy is easy with BetterHelp. Fill out a questionnaire and you will be matched with a therapist as little as a couple of days. They carefully make sure therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you if you have any questions. If the first therapist doesn't feel like the right fit for you, you can easily switch to another one until you find someone you really connect with. BetterHelp BetterHelp also provides a journal for personal reflection, plus group sessions on a variety of topics are available every day. Users love BetterHelp. They have over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot. If you're struggling and think you'd benefit from a therapy session, click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/newrockstars and get 10% off your first month of therapy. There's also this idea that Lilia's visions have been permeating throughout the show beyond the fourth wall, and we haven't really noticed, like her little title credit here. As I mentioned, divination uses different methods to gain insight. It's easy to assume that means through simple witchcraft, but if it works beyond the physical show, it could work like She-Hulk when she met Kevin. A little like that, not wholly Deadpooling it up, but what if Lilia can sense something more significant and sometimes it interrupts or breaks through her consciousness as premonitions? An example I'll give you is like Patti LuPone's credit in the montage of Witchy Things. We have tarot cards on the table with 2 rings, and the outer ring has just witchy things and the inner ring has the phases of the moon. This table is the same table where she'll have to do tarot reading for her trial. She's already giving us insight into the future from the first episode credits. From trailer footage, you can see the board in front of her between Jen and Agatha. Regarding the credit scene, that could play into her trial episode. This is a 6-card spread. I'd say it's like a modified version of a 10-card spread, the Celtic Cross one. You can read tarot in so many different spreads. You could simply just do like 1 card daily. I'm just giving you the one that it resembles. The Celtic Cross spread is common for tarot readers, but can be seen as one of the hardest things to interpret, which is probably why it's Lilia's trial. The Celtic Cross spread is also known to help provide insight into the near future because they need to win the trial, huh? You see what they're doing there. But it can also work like an axis breaking down the cards into 2 sections. The center is the heart of the matter, and the cards around it represent the events of your life that surround it. The center card either way should reflect you or what's happening in the present. Usually in a Celtic Cross, the second card is laid on top, representing the immediate challenge. And in this case, that would be the Magician card, which I will say has different meanings often. However, a common takeaway I read is that the Magician card controls their tools and can change their reality to get whatever they want. Though it seems optimistic, the card can still have its negative attributes like all tarot cards can. And since this is placed as immediate challenge for Lilia, this is something Lilia must overcome. This all makes sense because Agatha called her a coward in the first episode. So Lilia, I believe, is not only having a hard time being clairvoyant, but she's reminded that having the tools all available and at the ready to her at all times isn't actually a great thing. It's what got her chased out of her villages, remember?
When I was chased out of every village I passed through for accurately predicting tragedy.
All to say, the credits with her tarot cards could be Lilia showing us, the audience, the future of her trial in small chunks of visions like her premonitions. I wholeheartedly believe her burst of visions come from all around her. She's like the hand in Talk to Me, which works like a phone in the afterlife, ringing for whoever and whomever wants to pick it up. These premonitions are haunting, traumatic, or just not quite there. Witchcraft still takes work, and divination works to uncover hidden knowledge, so Lilia's ability to only see some portions of insights or visions is to be expected. However, when we first witnessed Lilia having a vision, she was entirely stopped. Her body wouldn't let her move without forcing this premonition all the way through. We could argue all day about what makes you clairvoyant and what makes you proficient in divination, but both have the ability to see beyond the human eyes. It's borderline supernatural. So there's a possibility that these visions are being pushed through by Agatha's past coven or someone like her mother trying to reach her and keep her safe along the witch's road. Evanora Harkness is set to make an appearance this season. This is Agatha's mom, and what I assume is going to be like a flashback could also tie into her reaching out via Lilia. The only reason why I think this theory is a little out there is because now we're mixing being a medium or a vessel to divination, which I believe, to my knowledge, you can learn and practice both, and both can overlap. Still, I just don't know to what degree Lilia can do it. In the last episode, Lilia was able to relay a message to Alice that we should assume came from her dead mother.
Alice, don't.
Don't what?
Don't what?
Though these visions from Evanora or Lorna Wu or some other witch could overpower Lilia and force her to spout nonsensical things at time, a medium usually conjures this through meditation or a trance. So conscious, it would be messing Lilia up trying to get through. Also, Evanora was her coven's leader and Lorna's coven was her fans, so they were both incredibly powerful witches. So connecting to another older witch might not actually be hard for them to do. So is there a chance it could also be Wanda coming through? Wanda did say this to Agatha at the finale of WandaVision.
You have no idea what you've unleashed. You're gonna need me.
If I do, I know where to find you.
Wait.
Now that Wanda is dead somewhere, could she really be stuck trying to get Agatha's help at the end of the Witch's Road? Could Lilia's "get off me" really be about Wanda colonizing her mind or intruding her thoughts?
Get off me!
Because we saw Wanda physically get into people's heads during Multiverse of Madness, and she's a very powerful witch. She could be able to reach Lilia if Evanora or Lorna could too. If one thing is true, so can the other, but it also all depends and all comes down to whether or not Lilia's powers can be used in the spirit world or the afterlife or wherever witches end up going after they die. It'll come out as the show continues. We still haven't seen Lilia's trial yet, and from what we've seen so far, there's gonna be a huge jump to it since the Salem 7 will also be there. I do believe we'll see where and how and why Lilia's getting these visions sporadically. It could be because she's just a very scary old witch or because someone's trying to reach her. Though, like the crazy witch in Sleepy Hollow who had to start a potion to tap into her other self, I think the same could work here with Lilia. Her visions are so strong it numbs everything else about her. Realistically, I don't think that's good for her brain, but luckily in this day and age, her sporadic outbursts kind of just seem like that crazy old lady, which of course Agatha's had plenty of time experiencing. Until we find out, let me know in the comments who or what you think these little outbursts are coming from. And for now, follow me at Lulu_Clemens, subscribe to all 3 channels of the New Rockstars Network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. On the break room, we're talking all about Agatha every Thursday, and it's really great. I'm just happy about it all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.